Good morning, students. Okay, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. వచ్చారు అందరూ 26 మెంబర్స్ వచ్చినట్టున్నారు 27 మెంబర్స్. ఓకే ఓకే నేను స్టార్ట్ చేస్తున్నాను. సరే జాయిన్ అవుతా ఉంటారు. ఓకే
సరే సార్.
ఓకేనా. Okay, in the last two classes we discussed about the definition of signal, definition of system, classification of signals, and classification of systems. Here mainly we are going to discuss about the discrete signals. Discrete signals, do you know the difference between discrete signal and the continuous time signal? So continuous time signal means it is continuous for all time t. It is continuous for all time t. Whereas discrete time signal is it is uh, it is available at discrete instance of time or distant instance of time. Discrete instance of time or distant instance of time. It means that our continuous time signal can be frozen for some time and it can be divided into equal intervals of time. It can be frozen for some time. Continuous time signal and it is continuous for all time t. It starts from minus infinity to plus infinity. So it will be continuous for all values of t. Whereas discrete time signal is the time signal will be frozen for some time. It means that we can take a sample of the continuous time signal, and it can be frozen for some time, and then it can be divided into equal intervals of the time. That is called discrete time signal. So it is represented as discrete time signal is represented like lines. See here. So this is a discrete time signal. This is discrete time signal. Okay, like that it will be defined. After that we will see the classification of signals. Continuous time signal, signal means it is a function of one or more independent variables. A signal may be one dimensional signal or multi-dimensional signal. If it is varied with only one dimension or one variable, then it is called single dimensional signal. If it is varied with multi-dimensional, more than two signals, then it is called multi-dimensional signal. Like that, discrete time signals are also single discrete time signal and multiple discrete time signal. Okay, so that is the system. That is the about the signal system. What is meant by system? System means interconnection of these signals or interconnection of these components. Okay, so after that we will see the classification of the signals and also systems. So signals and systems also. Okay, and after that we will see the properties. See, in our earlier two classes, we discussed about all these things. Okay, okay. Then these are all the classification of our signals. And then after that we discussed about the convolution. What is meant by convolution of two signals? If you take x of t is the input signal and h of t is its response and um, it's a system function, then y of t is response. How to get y of t or y of n? Y of n equal to sigma n is minus infinity to infinity x of k into h of n minus k. That is nothing but our convolution property. Okay, after that we discussed some problems regarding convolution property. Convolution. Okay, see the problems. So these two problems we solved in our earlier class. So convolution means for a linear time invariant system, with the input sequence x of n and impulse response h of n. These are given by the output or response y of n by y of n equal to sigma n is k, sigma k equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x of k into h of n minus k. Okay, here we are discussing about the discrete time signal only. We are discussing about the discrete time signal only, right? So that's why it is represented like this. Y of n is equal to sigma k is minus infinity to infinity x of k into h of n minus k, which is known as convolution sum and can be represented as y of n equal to x of n convolved with h of n. Convolution symbol is this one, star, where star represents the convolution operation. Okay, star represents the convolution operation. Okay, and we saw the various steps also. Various steps for doing the convolution. These are all the six steps are there. Six steps are there. So see, see the first step. Choose an initial value of n, the starting time for evaluating the output sequence y of n. If x of n starts at n equal to n1 and h of n starts at n equal to n2, then n is total n value is by adding these two, n1 plus n2. Total n is equal to n1 plus n2. Okay. And after that, step two is step two. What is step two? What is step 2? Step 2 is express both sequences in terms of the index k. So replace n by k. Fold h of k about k equal to 0 to obtain h of minus k and shift by n to the right if n is positive and left if n is negative to obtain h of n. Already these things were already over. So we have done some problems also regarding based on these steps. Okay. Then based on the then properties of convolution. Here mainly we have three properties of convolution are there. So we already know about these properties. So these are cumulative law, associative law, and distributive law. Cumulative law, associative law, and distributive law. Okay. See, what is meant by cumulative law? Cumulative law is represented mathematically as x of n convolved with h of n is equal to h of n convolved with x of n. That is cumulative law. Next one is associative law. Associative law is x of n convolved with h1 of n whole convolved with h2 of n is equal to x of n convolved with h1 of n convolved with h2 of n. So we'll put the whole bracket for h1 of n convolved with h2 of n. Then distributive law. Distributive law is x of n convolved with whole of h1 of n plus h2 of n is equal to x of n convolved with h1 of n plus x of n convolved with h2 of n. These three are the properties of our convolution. Okay, then after that we have solved some problems also. Okay, two problems. Okay, we already discussed in the last two classes. Okay, see, this is the problem. Here two sequences are given. So find the convolution of two sequences. X of n is equal to 2 1 2 1 1 and h of n equal to 1 minus 1 1 minus 1. Here the arrow mark is given at here. It means that it is x of 0 value. This is x of minus 1 value. This is x of minus 2 value. And this is x of plus 1 value. Okay. So first of all, we have to find out the length of the sequence. N1 is 4. N1 is 4. N2 is also 4, but it starts from minus 2. So that's why small n1 equal to minus 2. It starts at 0. There is no arrow mark. It indicates that it starts at 0. So n2 equal to 0. So by adding these two, minus 2 plus 0, it is minus 2. So it starts from minus 2 to some 4 integers. Okay. See. Then see, this is the uh, uh, diagrammatical representation of x of k. Replace n by k. This is also diagrammatical representation of h of k. That is, n is replaced by k. Okay. So then y of n. What is the formula for finding the convolution? Y of n is equal to sigma k equal to minus infinity to infinity x of k into h of n minus k. Okay. So it is k starts from minus 2, minus 2 to minus 2 to minus 2, minus 1, 1, 2. By adding these two, we will get the sequence 8, and 8 minus 1, 7. We will get 7 elements. Okay, so minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's why here the limits are from minus 2 to 4. X of k, h of n minus k. H of k, x of k, h of n minus k. Okay, so for n equal to 0, for n equal to 0, for n equal to 0 means for or from minus 2 to 4 we can calculate these values. So suppose first one is minus 2. If it is minus 2, y of minus 2 is x of k into h of minus 2 minus k. If it is minus 1, y of y of minus 1 equal to x of minus x of k into h of minus 1 minus k. Like that, we will find out the various values by using straightforward method. By using straightforward method, we can find out these values, and finally we will write the sequence as y of n equal to 1, 1, 0, 1, minus 2, 0, and minus 1. By taking the paper and solve this problem, you can easily get the solution. Okay, so do it in your own way. Okay, do it in your own way, step by step. Already material is already available with you. Okay, so keep it with you and solve step by step. Okay, so finally we will get the response. Y of n is equal to 1, 1, 0, 1, minus 2, 0, minus 1. Okay. And after that, this is about the convolution. Then coming to the jet transform, as we already know about the jet transform also. Jet transform in our signals and systems subject. Okay, already all of you aware about this jet transform, how it is represented, how it is jet transform is represented. So the jet transform of a time signal. Hello. Yes, the jet transform of a discrete time signal. So we are finding the jet transform for discrete time signals only. Okay, so discrete.
అమ్మో నీకు మాట్లాడాలి వినిపించింది నువ్వు మాట్లాడే
Unmute, unmute. Yes, coming to the jet transform. So the jet transform with discrete time signal, x of n can be defined as x of z. That is, jet transform of x of n is x of z is equal to, represented as sigma n is minus infinity infinity x of n into z power minus n. This is the mathematical representation of our jet transform. So here we have unilateral jet transform and bilateral jet transform. We have two types of jet transforms: unilateral jet transform and bilateral jet transform. If it is varied from 0 to infinity, then that is called unilateral jet transform. If it is varied from minus infinity to plus infinity, it is called bilateral jet transform. So we can divide this as minus infinity to 0 x of n into z power minus n plus sigma n equal to 0 to infinity x of n into z power minus n. So in either way we can represent this jet transform. We can represent as a sigma n equal to minus infinity to 0 x of n into z power minus n. That is called unilateral jet transform. Or we can represent sigma n equal to minus infinity to infinity x of n into z power minus n. That is called bilateral z transform. Okay, here z is capital Z is a complex variable. In polar form, we can represent this complex variable z as r into e power j omega, where r is the radius of the circle. Okay, so z value, substitute z value in that expression, above expression. So z at the place of z we substitute r into e power j omega, then x of z is equal to sigma n is minus infinity infinity x of n into r into e power j omega whole power minus n, right? Whole power minus n. So it will become sigma n equal to minus infinity infinity x of n into r power minus n into e power minus j omega n. R power n into e power minus j omega n, right? So if you consider this radius value is 1 unit radius, so then it will become sigma n equal minus infinity infinity x of n into e power minus j omega n. It is nothing but our Fourier transform. Okay, so Z transform is converted into Fourier transform whenever the radius of the circle is equal to unity. Whenever the radius of the circle is unity, then only our Z transform will become Fourier, simply Fourier transform. Okay, then this is also called as two-sided Z transform. Two-sided or bilateral Z transform. One-sided or unilateral Z transform. So the discrete time signal x of n is considered to be a causal signal. If it is a causal signal, then x t of z is equal to sigma n is 0 to infinity x of n into z power minus n. This is called one-sided Z transform. So causal means it depends upon the present state only. Okay, only present state. Then it is called causal system. Okay, right. Next, coming to this is about the definition of Z transform. So it is mainly described for discrete time signals. So we have two types of Z transforms, unilateral and bilateral. If it is causal, then we can call it as unilateral Z transform. If it is not causal, then we can call it as bilateral Z transform. Then coming to the region of convergence. Region of convergence. What is meant by region of convergence? So the set of all values of z for which x of z gets finite value. If it is a finite value, that means that sigma n equal to 0 to infinity x of n into z power minus n must be, or it should be, a finite value. Z power minus n should be a finite value. Then only we can say that it is a region of convergence. The set of all values of z for which x of z gets finite value is called ROC, region of convergence of x of z. Right, we have right-handed sequence. Here we have right-handed and both sequences. Okay, see, first of all we will see the right hand sequences. Right hand sequence. Let's see. The sequence is said to be right-handed, right hand sequence for which x of n equal to 0 for n is less than n naught, where n naught may be a positive or negative, but it should be a finite value. Then the ROC is said to be right-handed sequence. It will be entire z plane except z is 0. Okay. Above z is 0, it is right-handed. It means that the definition itself is telling that a sequence is said to be right-hand sequence for which x of n equal to 0 for n is less than n naught, where n naught may be a positive value or negative value, but it should be a finite value. The ROC of right-hand sequence will be entire z plane. So except z equal to 0, it is represented like this. For example, x of n equal to a set of 1, 0, minus 2, 3, 4. It starts from 1. That means that x of 0 is 1, x of plus 1 is 0, x of plus 2 is minus 2, x of plus 3 is 3, x of plus 4 is 4. So it can be represented as the Z transform can be represented as x of z equal to sigma n equal to 0 to infinity x of n into z power minus n. So what is x of 0 value? 1. 1 into z power 0, that is 1. So, next, x of 1 value is 0. 0 into z power 1, that is x of 1 into z power minus 1 plus x of 2 into z power minus 2 plus x of 3 into z power minus 3 plus x of 4 into z power minus 4. Okay, so 1, this is 1 into 1, 1. Second one is 0. Third one is minus 2 into z power minus 2 and plus 3 into z power minus 3 and plus 4 into z power minus 4. Okay, right? So the ROC of x of z will be entire z plane except z equal to 0. Like this type of problems, this is called right-handed sequence. This is right-handed sequence. Okay, right-handed sequence. Right. Then coming to the next one, left-handed sequence. Left-hand sequence. A left-hand sequence. A sequence is said to be left-hand sequence for which x of n equal to 0 for n is greater than or equal to n naught, where n naught may be a positive or negative or some finite value, but it is r not r finite value. It should be some finite value. Okay, the ROC of left-hand sequence will be entire z plane except z equal to infinity. In the earlier case, it is n is less than n naught, but here the condition is n is greater than or equal to n naught. So, for example, if n x of n is equal to minus 3, minus 2, a set of minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, and 0, and if we put the array here, so this is x of 0 value, this is x of minus 1, x of minus 2, x of minus 3 values, like. Okay, so here it is varying from minus infinity to 0, x of n into z power minus n. So x of minus 3 into z power 3 plus x of minus 2 into z power 2 plus x of minus 1 into z power 1 plus x of 0 into z power 0. So like this, we will get the um, equation like this, right? So this is called the left hand sequence. Left hand sequence, right? The ROC of x of z will be entire z plane except z equal to infinity. Okay, then coming to the two-side sequence. Two-side sequence. Two-side sequence. What is two-side sequence? It consists both z is 0 and z is infinity. So see the definition of two-side sequence: a signal that has finite duration on both left and right hand sides is known as two-side sequence. It has finite in every case, every sequence, whether it is right hand sequence or left hand sequence or two-side sequence. Here the duration will be here the duration will be finite duration. It means that it is less than infinity. So a signal that has finite duration on both left and right hand sides is known as two-side sequence. For such type of sequence, the ROC is entire z plane except z equal to 0 and z is infinity. If it is ROC, entire ROC except z is 0, that is right hand sequence. If it is ROC is entire z plane except z is infinity, that is left hand sequence. So this is the combination of two side sequence. So except at z is 0 and z is infinity. For example, here x of n equal to a set of 2, minus 1, 3, 2, 1, 0, 2, 3, and minus 1. Here we will put the array here. This is nothing but this is x of 0 value. Left hand side, this is x of minus 1, x of minus 2, x of minus 3, x of minus 4 values, and these are x of 1, x of 2, x of 3, x of 4 values. Then find x of z. So here the sigma varying from minus infinity to plus infinity, but here it is varying from minus 3, minus 2, minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So by solving this, we'll get the solution as x of z equal to 2z power 4 minus z cube plus 3z square plus 2z plus 1 plus 2z power minus 2 plus 3z power 3 minus z power minus 4, right? Okay, so the ROC of x of z will be entire z plane except at z equal to 0 and z is infinity. Okay, so this is about the two-sided sequence. So in Z transform we will find out three type of sequences: right hand sequence, left hand sequence, and two-side sequence. If we take right hand sequence, the ROC will be entire z plane except at z equal to 0. If it is left hand sequence, the ROC will be entire z plane except at z equal to infinity. Whereas coming to the two-side sequence, the ROC will be entire z plane except at z equal to 0 and z equal to infinity. Okay, z equal to 0 and z is infinity, right? So this is about these three sequences. Next, coming to the properties of Z transforms, properties of or ROC, properties of ROC. So after that we will see the properties of Z transforms. Okay, see see properties of ROC. The first property is properties of ROC. See the property of ROC. The ROC is a ring disk in Z plane centered at origin. It is a ring disk in Z plane centered at origin. Ring disk means it is like a unity circle. It is like a circle. Next, the ROC cannot contain any poles. It doesn't contain any poles. Only it contains zeros. Next, third property, the ROC of a causal sequence will be entire Z plane except Z equal to 0. It is a causal sequence will be entire Z plane except Z equal to 0. Next property is the ROC of a non-causal sequence will be entire Z plane except Z equal to infinity. It means that the third property is related to right hand sequence and fourth property is related to left hand sequence. Next, the ROC of finite duration two-sided sequence will be entire Z plane except Z equal to 0 and Z is infinity. So it is a two-side sequence. Okay, next the ROC of infinite duration two-sided sequence will be ring in the Z plane. It is infinite duration two-sided sequence. Seventh one is the ROC of linear time invariant stable system contain unit circle. To contain unit circle, the ROC must be connected region. Okay, must be connected in a region. So these are all the important properties of our ROC, region of convergence. Okay, next coming to the properties of Z transform. What are the properties of Z transform? We are already aware of these properties also. Properties of Laplace transform, properties of Fourier transform, and properties of Z transform. Already aware of all these things. Okay, so what is the first property of Z transform? Linearity property. What is meant by linearity property? A proper if it is said to be linear, it obeys the superposition theorem as well as homogeneity property. It obeys superposition theorem as well as homogeneity property. Okay, see if it is defined like this: if Z transform of x1 of n is equal to x1 of z, x1 of z, x1 of z, then see x1 of z and Z transform of x2 of n is equal to x2 of z, then how it is defined? Z transform of a into x1 of n plus b into x2 of n is equal to a into x1 of z plus b into x2 of z. Right? This is the definition of our linearity property. If it is obeys the homogeneity and superposition theorem, then we can say that it is a linearity property, right? So how it is proved? So Z transform of a into x1 of n plus b into x2 of n is equal to sigma n is minus infinity infinity x of n into z power minus n. That is the formula. Here x of n is given as a into x1 of n plus b into x2 of n, right? So uh, divide it separately. So sigma n is minus infinity infinity a into x1 of n into z power minus n plus sigma n equal to minus infinity infinity b into x2 of n into z power minus n. A extract it. So a into sigma n equal to minus infinity infinity x1 of n into z power minus n plus b, extract b outside. So sigma n equal to minus infinity infinity x2 of n into z power minus n. So this is a into x1 of z plus b into x2 of z. Hence proved. Next one is time shifting property. Time shifting property. So how it is defined? So time shifting property is defined as if the z transform of x of n equal to x of z, then z transform of x of n minus m is equal to z power minus m into x of z. How it will be proved? So take z transform of x of n minus m. So it is put it in the formula. So sigma n equal to minus infinity to infinity x of n minus m into z power minus n. Let n minus m equal to L. So replace n minus m by L. N is L plus m. Okay, n is L plus m, and n minus m is replaced by L. So z power L plus m. Okay, n is L plus m. So x of L into z power minus L into z power minus m. Okay, so extract the z power minus m outside. So sigma n equal to minus infinity infinity x of L into z power minus L. So it is z power minus m into x of z. This is time shifting property. Okay, this is the time shifting property. Next one is time reversal property. Time reversal property. So how it is defined? If z transform of x of n equal to x of z, then z transform of x of minus n time reversal is equal to x of z power minus 1. X of z power minus 1. Okay, how it will be proved? So z transform of x of minus n is equal to sigma n is minus infinity to infinity x of minus n into z power minus n. So let minus n equal to L. So minus L will be replaced by L. So minus n will be replaced by L. So sigma equal to L equal to minus infinity to infinity x of L into z power L, or we can write this as z power minus 1 whole power minus L, or it is equal to x of z power minus 1. So this is time reversal property. Time reversal property. Okay. Next, coming to the differentiation property. Differentiation property. See, if the z transform of x of n equal to x of z, then z transform of n into x of n into x of n equal to minus z into d by dz of x of z. So how it will? This is the definition of differentiation property. Z transform of z of x of n is equal to x of z. Then z transform of n into x of n is equal to minus z into d by dz of x of z. Okay. See, prove. How it will be proved? X of z equal to sigma n equal to minus infinity to infinity x of n into z power minus n. So d by dz of x of z is equal to sigma n is minus infinity to infinity x of n into minus n into z power minus n minus 1. Okay, this is a whole bracket. Okay, so d by dz of x of z is equal to n into x of n into z power minus n into z power minus 1 can be written as a 1 by z, put the minus before that. Okay, now multiplying both sides of the equation by z. So minus z. So minus z into d by dz of x of z is equal to minus z into sigma n is minus infinity to infinity n into x of n z power minus n into minus 1 by z. Okay, so minus z into d by dz of x of z is equal to sigma n is minus infinity infinity n into x of n into this z and z gets cancelled, so it will become z power minus n, or it is z into n into n into x of n. This is z transform of n into x of n, right? So z transform of n into x of n will become minus z into d by dz of x of z. Hence proved. So z transform of n into x of n will become minus z into d by dz of x of z. Okay, okay, okay. Next coming to the convolution property. Convolution property. If z transform of x of n is equal to x of z, and z transform h of n is equal to h of z, then z transform of x of n convolved with h of n will become h of x of z into h of z. It means that the convolution in time domain will become simple multiplication in frequency domain. Okay, convolution in time domain will become simple multiplication in frequency domain. I think the time is up. It's only 1 minute. Okay, today we'll stop this topic up to here. Okay, the next class we will see the remaining topic. Okay, right. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, one and all.